Hello everyone and welcome to John Drinks, the channel which I, John, have a drink. And at the day of recording, it is Burns Day, or night, or whatever particular time frame that you want to give it. That is a Scottish celebration where we eat copious amounts of haggis and drink copious amounts of whiskey. Potatoes and neeps are sometimes involved as well. Not a huge fan of neeps. In fact, not many people are a huge fan of neeps. They're just kind of like if you took a carrot and added loads of extra water, really. They're not that nice. I don't think. There's probably going to be people down below being like, what are you? The neeps are the only bit of the haggis that I actually like. Like, okay. So, Burns Nights. People normally make a big fuss about it. This time last year I was working it and we had a piper and there was haggis and lots of whiskey and it was all a big hoo-ha-ha-ha. This year also I'm not working. So I thought, what can I do for Burns Night? And at first I thought, well, do you know what? Should I do like a rehash of what I've done in the past where I kind of like break down how to drink whiskey and the different kinds of whiskey you should get in? I thought, do you know what? Actually, it might be a little bit of fun just to look at something that I've got on the antique side of my whiskey collection. So I have here a little bottle of Robbie Burns' famed old Scotch whisky. Now, I've tried to do a bit of research on this bottle and it does not yield much in the way of information. I've tried to Google the company that makes it. It's quite difficult to make it out now on this faded label. R.H. Thompson & Co. Distillers Limited. And they were based in Edinburgh, which is exciting. So after being God knows where, they've ended up returning home, I suppose. 40% volume. No idea about chill filter. I mean, from the time period, I think it's safe to assume, because they were sort of the hallmarks of the time. This fashion for not chill filtering or colouring, if it was ever done, it was rarely advertised anyway, because it just wasn't something anyone gave a shit about. If we're being completely honest. So this is a miniature. I've seen bigger bottles of this going for 70 quid sometimes, and that's purely because it's old. Now this particular one, there's a problem with some of these miniatures sometimes, in that if they're kept in poor conditions, or indeed with any whiskey, it can still evaporate, which is what's happened with this. So the neck fill is a bit low. So this is going to be below 40%. So technically speaking, this liquid is no longer whiskey. Which is a shame, but it gives us an opportunity to try roughly what a blend would be like. It's not going to be the best representation. It's sort of like recreating old recipes in many respects. It's a best guess because a lot of old recipes aren't detailed. Not quite sure where I'm going with that particular analogy, metaphor. You're also probably wondering about this bottle here, actually, before I crack this open. This is an old White Mackay ceramics edition. It's a ceramic of a haggis. A haggis is not actually a wild animal, but there's a long-standing joke that the haggis is a wild animal. And we lean into it quite heavily to mock the tourists. Just being honest. It's the same as if you ever go to Edinburgh, you touch Bobby's nose for good luck. It's complete bullshit. Some tour guide made it up 20 years ago because it sounds like a tradition, you know? Whenever you say good luck or haunted or tradition, tourists eat that shit up, you know? What it's actually doing is slowly eroding a listed landmark, so yeah. Actually, it says on the back, it's Haggis Catch Me If You Canius. The legendary haggis can be found in the glens and on the moors of bonny Scotland, a rare shy creature which has eluded the greatest of hunters. Earlier sightings go as far back as the Roman occupation, when a sighting of the haggis struck fear into the battle-hardened ranks of the legionnaires, who then knew a picked attack was imminent. Present sightings of the haggis are few and far between, but it is said that on the 1st of January each year, a few can still be seen in the still, quiet, misty glens. So isn't that fun? This was part of a series of Scottish souvenirs by White Mackay, and there were, I think I'm right in saying there was a ceramic thistle and a Nessie as well, I think I've seen, although I'm not sure if I'm confusing that with something else. I'm not going to open this because it's just White Mackay inside, and we've covered, I think, better antique White Mackay with the Special Reserve down there. So if that's as good as White Mackay gets, there's not much point in cracking this open. You can find these ceramic bottles kicking around. I've seen them in antique shops and charity shops. They don't tend to really go for much either, because White Mackay, high distribution, so you can see them relatively easily. I wouldn't pay more than £10 for one. Because there's probably going to be somebody out there that's like, oh yeah, I can make a bit of cash off of this. Don't get suckered into it. So, we should crack on with this. Now, there's probably going to be somebody out there again saying that, oh, this is sacrilege opening these up. It's any value this might have had long since went away, because obviously due to the fill level. Its only interest is to somebody like me that is curious and wants to try and see what older blends tasted like. What difference did those old stocks make? The older casks, when there wasn't a fight over the best casks, when they were kind of just readily available because whiskey wasn't going through the greatest of days. What's it like? And having a format like this means that I can share some thoughts about this. Now, I have looked on things like Whiskey Base and stuff like that. There have been a couple of reviews. Other people have done the same thing where they've tried it out of a miniature and they've said, you know, it's not been ideal because they've had the same problem as me, but it's given an idea as to what it would be like. If this is banging, damn, to be honest. Because, I mean, even if under unideal circumstances, this is still fantastic, it must have been something special. It could be revolting, to be fair. That's one of the pitfalls of this, but I think if I'm not going to try this today, when am I? If not now, when? Okay. Doesn't smell like it's lost any strength. If anything, it smells like it's gained a bit of strength. Which, if it had been like in a sock drawer in a hotter country, is possible. It's possible. Getting sort of like a perfumed violet on the nose. Plenty of old bottle effect. It's difficult to describe old bottle effect. Once you smell it, it's its own smell. It's like saying, oh, that smells like talcum powder. Oh, that smells like mothballs. Oh, that smells like rosemary or thyme or sage, or that smells like custard. You know, it's its own distinct smell. I suppose custard smells like vanilla, doesn't it? So that's maybe not the best example, but you get what I mean. Like, you know what you're talking about when you say what it smells like. With a bit more time to the air as well, there's a bit of a solvency whack to it, but there is a little bit of like a sugary sweetness to it. So like brown, like it's not quite brown sugar. What is that? I want to say Demerara, but I don't mean Demerara. What's the Muscovado? There we go. I was racking my brain trying to think of all my different sugars. Muscovado sugar. It's not hugely yielding. I will quickly say about this as well, I'm not going to add any water to it, because it's an old blend. It's already, to the best of my knowledge, dipped below 40%. If I add any more water, it's going to completely destroy it. You've got to be careful adding water to older whiskies. And I don't mean older whiskies in terms of like 21-year-olds that have just been bottled. I mean ones that have been hanging around in the bottle for 20, 30 years. Because they become delicate. And it's so easy to kill them. It's almost not worth it. Okay, it's reminding me a lot of like when I did the old White Mackays a few months ago, when I did like old Jura and old Fettercairn and stuff like that. It's taking me back. Okay, let's see what. I think it's from the 70s, so let's see what 50-year-old Robbie Burns Old Blend is like. Holy shit, that's nice. Like, holy shit, that's nice. I'm just kind of like going through all the phases of it. I'm picking up new stuff as I'm going through. Okay, on the arrival, there is like a light brown sugar. It's kind of like if you nibbled off the caramel coating around, you know, I'm trying to toe around saying caramel. There's something caramelly about it. I was going to go down this like rabbit hole of like, oh, if you chew off the outer casing of a candy apple, it's like, it's caramel, John, just say caramel. And then as it develops, it goes through into almost like borderline savoury, sort of like a peanut butter, if there wasn't, not like the over-sugared peanut butters that you can get sometimes, like a good quality peanut butter. It's got that kind of like natural sweet savoury kind of a thing going on. And then it becomes a little bit kind of like licoricey, molasses. There's something a little bit rum about it as well. It's an absolutely charming blend, and it's another example of one of those blends that you don't need to add it to something. It's good enough on its own. I'm getting like coffee notes of like espresso. Like dry, excellent coffee. And then there is like a salmiac-y licorice, salted licorice kind of a thing. And then black treacle. And there's sort of like a strange umami finish. Kind of like soy sauce. And that's it on a bad day. Fucking hell. I'm glad I did this now. If you see a bottle of this kicking around an auction, go for it. If nothing else, the bottle's beautiful. But yeah, the liquid content. If I'm getting that off of a bottle that's clearly not been very well stored, there's been evaporation, and it's still fantastic. Imagine what one's like where it's been kept very well. I mean, I wouldn't pay too much money for it. It's not worth like £70 odd. If you see it kicking around for like £50, £60 maybe even, yeah, okay. I can believe in that. I can go for that. It's worth it a little bit as well because obviously it's out of circulation. It gives you an opportunity to try what old stocks are like, but it's also good. That's the thing. There's a lot going on there, and I'm enjoying it. Comment down below. Have you had an opportunity to try any vintage blends, or do you have fond memories of older stocks of whiskey that you can no longer get your hands on? Tell me some stories. I'm keen to hear them. Thumb this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, because I've got a lot of liquor to drink. And I do it in a fun but responsible way. And thank you very much for watching, and do join me next time where I'll be drinking something else.